The Galactic Council's annual fitness exposition was supposed to be a celebration of interstellar athletic prowess. Representatives from dozens of worlds had gathered on the neutral moon of Keras 7, each species eager to demonstrate their evolutionary advantages. The atmosphere buzzed with competitive energy as various aliens showcased their natural abilities. Commander Zixith of the Vraxian Empire stood at nearly 12 feet tall, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the artificial lights. His 4 powerful legs had carried his ancestors across the endless dune seas of Vrax Prime for millions of years. "Observe, lesser beings," he announced to the assembled crowd, his translator rendering his clicks and hisses into standard galactic. "The Vraxians possess unlimited endurance. We are the ultimate persistence predators of the galaxy." Nearby, Ambassador Kithara of the Cylonian Federation nodded in agreement. Her serpentine form coiled gracefully. "Indeed, though we Cylonians would dispute that claim. Our metabolic efficiency allows us to maintain peak performance for rotations without rest." The crowd murmured appreciatively as demonstration after demonstration proved these claims. Vraxians completed 100-kilometer circuits without visible fatigue. Cylonians maintained perfect form through hours of complex acrobatic routines. The crystalline Zenthrans pulsed with endless energy, their mineral bodies requiring no biological fuel. Then Captain Sarah Martinez stepped forward. The human was unremarkable by galactic standards, a bipedal mammal barely 6 feet in height with no visible natural armor, claws, or enhanced limbs. Her presence had been largely ignored throughout the exposition. Most species viewed humans as adequate engineers and decent diplomats, but physically underwhelming. "I'd like to propose a challenge," Sarah announced, her voice calm but carrying clearly across the amphitheater. The assembled aliens turned their various optical organs toward her with mixtures of amusement and curiosity. Commander Zixith's mandibles clicked in what his species considered laughter. "A challenge? You little soft skin?" Zixith gestured with one of his secondary arms. "What could a human possibly offer that we have not already surpassed?" Sarah smiled, a distinctly human expression that seemed to unsettle several species present. "A simple endurance race. Pick your fastest, most resilient champions. We'll run until only one remains conscious and mobile." The silence that followed was broken by scattered chittering, whistling, and buzzing as different species conferred among themselves. Ambassador Kithara's head swayed hypnotically. "You cannot be serious. Humans are notorious for your biological limitations. You require frequent feeding, hydration, and rest periods." "That's true," Sarah acknowledged. "We're not the strongest, fastest, or most efficient. But sometimes, Ambassador, it's not about being the best at any one thing." Within hours, the challenge was formalized. The course was a grueling circuit through Keras 7's diverse biomes: Arctic tundra, desert wasteland, humid jungle, and rocky highlands. Each lap measured exactly 50 kilometers. Contestants could carry whatever supplies they wished, but once they stopped moving forward, they were eliminated. 23 champions lined up at the starting point. Commander Zixith represented the Vraxians, his backup respiratory system cycling efficiently. The Cylonian champion, Silmark, had fasted for days to optimize his metabolic reserves. The Zenthran representative hummed with stored solar energy. Other species brought their own evolutionary advantages: amphibious aquarians, 6-legged hexapods, even a gaseous Etherian contained within a mobility suit. Sarah stood among them wearing simple running attire, carrying only a small hydration pack and basic nutrition supplements. She looked almost comically outmatched. The race began. For the first several laps, the predictions held true. The alien champions surged ahead, their superior biology evident. Zixith's powerful legs ate up distance with mechanical precision. Silmark flowed across terrain with liquid grace. The others maintained steady, efficient paces that showcased millions of years of evolutionary refinement. Sarah ran behind them, maintaining what appeared to be a modest but steady rhythm. Her breathing was controlled, her stride economical rather than impressive. Several alien spectators commented on her poor tactical decision. Surely she should have started faster to keep pace with the leaders. As the first day passed, subtle changes began to emerge. The hexapod champion, despite his 6-legged advantage, began to lag. His species had evolved for short bursts of incredible speed, not sustained effort. The Etherian's mobility suit developed technical difficulties. One by one, the field began to thin. Sarah continued her steady pace, occasionally adjusting her stride to accommodate terrain changes. stopping briefly every few hours to consume nutrients or hydrate. She began passing competitors. By the second day, Commander Zixith noticed something disturbing. His backup respiratory systems were working harder than expected. His metabolic efficiency, optimized for Vrax Prime's conditions, struggled with Keras 7's variable environment. Behind him, he could hear the steady, rhythmic footfalls of the human. "Impossible," he muttered through his translator. She should have collapsed rotations ago. But Sarah hadn't collapsed. If anything, she appeared to have found a sustainable rhythm. Her body temperature remained stable through an internal cooling system that seemed to operate independently of external conditions. When others struggled in the desert heat, she simply redirected blood flow and increased perspiration. In the Arctic zones, her muscles generated heat through controlled shivering. Silmark was the next to falter. His metabolic optimization had backfired. Without access to his species' preferred prey, his energy reserves depleted faster than anticipated. He collapsed during the third day, his serpentine form finally succumbing to exhaustion. More champions fell. The crystalline Zenthran cracked under thermal stress, the amphibious Aquarian dehydrated. Athletic species that had dominated their homeworlds for eons found themselves unable to match the steady, relentless pace of a single human. Commander Zixith pushed himself harder, drawing on pride and evolutionary superiority. His four legs pumped with desperate efficiency, but his chitinous shell had become a prison, trapping heat and limiting his flexibility. On the fourth day, with only 3 competitors remaining, his legs finally gave out. He collapsed in a heap of exhausted exoskeleton, his compound eyes watching in disbelief as Sarah's footsteps faded into the distance. The last alien champion, a hexapod named Clickstor who had paced himself better than his teammate, made a final desperate sprint. His 6 legs carried him past Sarah for nearly an hour before they, too, betrayed him. He tumbled to the ground, muscles seizing, his species' burst-oriented physiology finally failing. Sarah ran on. She completed 2 more full laps alone, her pace unchanged before race officials finally stopped the competition. Medical teams rushed to attend to the collapsed alien champions while Sarah jogged to a gentle stop, her breathing elevated but controlled. "How?" Commander Zixith wheezed from his medical stretcher. "How is this possible?" Sarah accepted a cooling towel from a medic, her expression thoughtful. "Evolution, Commander. Your species evolved to be apex predators, perfectly adapted to your worlds. Humans evolved to be persistence hunters on a world that tried to kill us daily. We didn't develop the best claws or the strongest muscles or the most efficient metabolism." She gestured toward the course where she had just outlasted the galaxy's finest athletes. "We developed the ability to just keep going. When the fast predators tired, when the strong ones overheated, when the efficient ones ran out of fuel, we kept moving. It's not about being the best at anything. Sometimes it's about being just good enough at everything, for long enough." The assembled alien spectators watched in stunned silence as the unremarkable human walked calmly toward the medical station for a routine post-race evaluation. Behind her, the greatest endurance athletes in known space struggled to comprehend how millions of years of evolutionary superiority had been defeated by simple, relentless persistence. In the medical reports filed later, xenobiologists noted that Captain Martinez's biological systems had operated within normal human parameters throughout the entire race. She hadn't pushed beyond her species' limitations. She had simply utilized capabilities that humans considered routine. The galaxy's perspective on humanity shifted that day on Keras 7. They were still seen as decent engineers and adequate diplomats, but now with an additional notation in official files: caution advised in endurance-based competitions. Human persistence capabilities may exceed expected parameters. Sarah Martinez returned to her ship that evening, had a proper meal, slept for 8 hours, and reported for duty the next morning as if nothing exceptional had occurred. Because, from a human perspective, nothing exceptional had occurred at all.